So Netflix just dropped their latest numbers, and yeah, on the surface, things look pretty good. But the headline figures, they rarely tell the whole story. The real meat, the stuff that tells you where a company is actually headed, is always in the Q&A with the Wall Street analysts. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today, the tough questions they asked and what the answers reveal about Netflix's master plan.
Right. So even with a solid quarter on the books, you could feel a little bit of anxiety in the questions analysts were asking. We've gone through the entire call and boiled it all down to 4 huge themes that came up again and again. These are the things that are really on investors' minds.
First up, the big one. How healthy is this business, really? Analysts were looking past the last 90 days. They wanted to know if the core of Netflix is strong enough to handle what's coming in 2026 and beyond. And co-CEO Greg Peters gave a really interesting answer. He started off strong, saying the business is very healthy. But then he immediately followed it with, "But we got a lot of work we need to do." That's a classic way of saying, yeah, we're doing well, but we are nowhere near done. They're still hungry, still pushing for more. And they had the receipts to back that up. Just look at this. In both the US and the UK, Netflix hit a new record for its share of total TV time. Now, this is so important because it's not just about how many people subscribe, it's about how much attention they command. In the battle for eyeballs, Netflix is clearly winning, and that is a huge sign of a healthy platform. But just as they were talking up their successes, one analyst jumped in with a bit of a curveball. They pointed to one number that looked off: operating income. It came in below what they had forecasted, and Wall Street wanted to know why. And the culprit was this really complicated tax situation down in Brazil. The CFO, Spence Newman, had to explain that this wasn't some Netflix-specific problem. It was a big Supreme Court ruling that affected lots of companies, and it basically hit Netflix with a bill for multiple years, all at once. So really, it was more of an accounting headache than a sign of business trouble. And here's the bottom line. Spence was super clear about this. He said if you take out this one-time expense, they would have actually beaten their profit forecast. So the story here wasn't about a crack in the business. It was just a weird blip in the bookkeeping.
Okay, let's switch gears, because the second big topic was the one everyone's been watching for a while now: advertising. We've been hearing about it for ages, but the big question is this thing finally starting to work? Is it becoming the gold mine they hoped it would be?
And the answer, pretty resoundingly, is yes. They are on pace to more than double their ad revenue this year. Now, to be fair, it's still a pretty small piece of their overall business. But you just can't ignore that kind of explosive growth. It's the signal everyone was waiting for. Greg Peters also laid out their game plan, which he described as moving from a crawl to a walk. And it's all about making the platform a no-brainer for advertisers. They're focused on making it easier to buy ads, getting more different kinds of brands on board, rolling out cool new ad formats, and, this is key, giving advertisers better data to prove their ads are actually working.
Okay, so once the money questions were out of the way, the conversation naturally turned to Netflix's heart and soul, its content. With almost 1 billion people watching worldwide, how on earth do you keep all of them coming back for more?
Well, co-CEO Ted Sarandos had a perfect example ready to go: K-pop Demon Hunters. He pointed to it as Exhibit A for their entire strategy. It wasn't just a successful movie. He said it was a smash hit that proves they can still create these massive cultural moments that everyone, everywhere, is talking about.
And get this, the impact of this movie spilled down into the real world in a pretty wild way. The demand for toys and merchandise was so off the charts that it literally forced 2 of the biggest rivals in the toy industry, Mattel and Hasbro, to partner up for the very first time. I mean, when your movie is so big it makes your partner's competitors join forces, you know you've got a monster hit on your hands.
And they are not slowing down. After wrapping up 2025 with the epic finale of Stranger Things, they're just rolling right into 2026 with an absolutely stacked lineup. You've got fan favorites like Bridgerton and One Piece coming back, mixed with enormous new movies from A-listers like Greta Gerwig and Ben Affleck. The content pipeline is full.
All right, for the final part of the conversation, the analysts really zoomed out. With the whole media world changing so fast, with new tech and big mergers, they wanted to know, what are Netflix's next big bets for the long term? And the first thing they asked about was mergers and acquisitions. You see all these other media giants combining forces, so the obvious question is Netflix finally going to go on a big shopping spree to keep up? Their answer was pretty direct: nope.
don't expect them to go out and buy an old-school TV network. They still see themselves as builders, not buyers of legacy assets. Now, that doesn't mean they'll never buy anything. But if they do, it'll be something strategic, like a gaming studio or a cool production company that helps them go faster in the direction they're already headed. And speaking of gaming, they made it clear their vision is way bigger than just putting a few mobile games on the app. They kept using the word interactivity. Think about being able to vote in real time on a reality show, or playing a game that actually expands the universe of a series you love. It's all about blurring the lines between watching and participating. And we're about to see the next step. This holiday season, they're launching party games you can play right on your TV. And here's the brilliant part. They're turning the phone that's already in your hand into the controller. No need to buy a console, no friction. It just works. Of course, they had to talk about AI. And Ted Sarandos had a really level-headed take on it. He basically said, look, AI is going to be an incredible tool for creators. It'll help them do amazing things, but at the end of the day, it's just a tool. It doesn't magically turn you into a great storyteller if you're not one already. Creativity is still king. So, when you put all these pieces together, the ads, the live events, the blockbuster content, the interactive gaming, you start to see the real picture. Netflix isn't just trying to be a streaming service anymore. They're building an entire entertainment universe. The ultimate goal? To become the one subscription that you absolutely cannot live without. The only question left is, will it work? Thanks for watching.